Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworking's podcast. So I hope everybody's well. What have I been up to? So I'm continuing with orders. I'm quite lucky, so yeah, I'm continuing with them. I have been pretty active on social media, more YouTube and TikTok. I have done a few shorts. I also done a kind of redone, but I did add a little bit extra to it. A video about the Roman workbench, basically just how to use it. The last video, the audio was terrible and whatever, the lighting wasn't bad. So this one I've done outside with a new camera, and yeah, it's a lot better than the last one. I've had quite a few comments and messages asking to do a part 3, so I might do a part 3. There's a few things I did want to show in this video, but I just never got around to doing it. So yeah. While I'm on the subject of videos, if there's anything anybody wants to see, kind of hit us up on social media, leave a comment, what you want to see, or even email us if you like. The same goes for the podcast as well. To be honest with you, I was actually struggling with an idea of what to talk about today. Sometimes it just gets really hard and you can't really, sometimes my mind just goes blank. So I would really appreciate some ideas just to help us out a little bit. So today I'm going to talk about finishes and prepping. So what I mean by that is, for anybody that doesn't know, oils, waxes, things like that, varnish. Not that I use varnish, but I'm giving you an idea of what I'm going to be talking about. So, the first thing I want to talk about is probably prepping before you even put anything on. So, what I like to do, for example, just say we're making a little coffee table. So before I apply the finish, normally before I assemble, because sometimes it's just a lot easier just to get everything sanded and whatever else before you put things together. Sometimes if you're making some sort of a square box construction, whether it be a TV unit sort of thing, it's always, in my opinion, it's always better to do things before you put them together. So, kind of what I like to do is use the card scraper. I'm not talking about a cabinet scraper because sometimes these get mixed up. So if you use a cabinet scraper, for me, you don't get as fine shaven as you do with a card scraper, and that's basically just a card scraper that you'll hold in your hand. This actually hasn't got a body, and there's a lot of people that get these mixed up. So if I was to flatten something or smoothen it out, I would use my number 4 smooth and plane. Then I would move to my cabinet scraper, and then I would move to the card scraper. Now, the good thing about the card scraper, when you get to the point where you're using a card scraper, you're kind of getting a bit of a glass finish, nearly. It's a really good finish. And from there, I'll move to some really fine sandpaper. Now, in the past, and I don't know why I used to do this, but I used to go through what I've just stated there, and then I used to drop it to I used to sand it, but I used to drop my grit to 120, and it kind of defeats the object, because if you've got a nicely sharpened card scraper, there's no need for you to go back to 120 grits, which ironically I used to for some crazy reason. But what I like to do now, and is what I do now, after the after the cabinet scraper, you can pretty much move. What will I do? I pretty much move straight to like the 400 region, 400 grit. That, and that's pretty cool. I mean, it depends what I'm doing, and it depends what the what the thing is. Sometimes I mightn't even use sandpaper. Sometimes I can get such a fine finish just off the card scraper. Not every time, everything's just dependent on the wood, which way the grain's going. Is the grain a bit gnarly or whatever else? It is all dependent. But usually I do finish it up with some some fine sandpaper, some 400 grit. Once you've got all that done, then you're ready to apply the finish. So my two go-tos are Osmo Oil and Danish Oil. I have used other stuff in the past, varnishes, boiled linseed oil, things like that. But typically for me, I will use either Osmo Oil or Danish Oil. Osmo Oil is my favourite, I will admit. It's definitely my favourite. It's out of the two of them, it's more difficult to put on. Difficult is probably the wrong word to use. I wouldn't say it was difficult. It's probably just a little bit more time consuming, but it's not difficult. Probably a wrong choice of words there, but I will say Osmo Oil is my favourite. So I'm going to go through a few, 3 or 4 of these finishes, the goods and the bads. So Osmo Oil, as I said, that is my favourite. So I think I'm just going to go through the bad thing first, the bad stuff. So notably the price. It's a lot of money compared to Danish Oil, boiled linseed, and just good old regular varnish. Yeah, it is pretty expensive. I can't remember the size of the tins and stuff, but it's really expensive. For me, it is anyway. But you do get what you pay for, and I think out of all the finishes I've used, you do get a good, durable, strong finish with the Osmo Oil. Another bad thing, I think this is more for beginners or people that haven't used it before, is when you start using it, you tend to use a lot of it. That's probably just because you haven't experimented with ways of applying it. It's gooey as well. It's kind of, if you get it on your hands, you should be using gloves and stuff. But if you do get it on your hands, it's all like gooey. Even when you've washed your hands, if you're using like some washing up liquid to try and get the oil and the wax, because Osmo Oil is a blend of oil and waxes. So it can be a bit awkward to get out your hands. I'm not too fond of the smell of it either. It kind of smells. It always reminds me of like a gloss paint. That's what it smells like to me. So yeah, there's not really that many bad things about it, to be honest. Probably just the price. That's the only thing I would whinge about, to be honest, the price. But I mean, as I said, the good things, you do kind of get what you pay for, and it is a good finish. As I was saying before, it's a really good, durable finish. I like it when you first put the Osmo Oil on, it just pops the grain, like the grain just really pops. And I think once you've got the first coat of the Osmo Oil on, you kind of know where where you are with it type of thing. You know what to expect. So yeah, I mean that's as I said, it's you kind of get what you pay for. It is a really good finish. It's if money wasn't an object, if if it was a lot cheaper, I would just use it exclusively. But obviously sometimes, depending on what I'm making and what the client wants and whatever else, I might not use that. Osmoil is also food safe once it's dried. For those of you that don't know, so it could be used on possibly on I can't think of anything like chopping boards, things like that. I don't really know anybody that uses it on chopping boards, but it is food safe, so technically you could kind of use it. So Danish oil, that's next on my list. Danish oil, I've probably been using Danish oil for the longest. I've been using it years and years now, Danish oil. So it stinks. I'll get that one out of the way straight away. It absolutely stinks. And it can linger on wood for like a long time. It's funny with the linger. I mean, with the smell lingering. Some things you can, some pieces of furniture you can put it on, and after a couple of days you can't smell a thing, and then other times it just lingers for weeks and weeks. It just really stinks. I don't know if this is something to do with how dry the wood is. Maybe if the wood's like really dry and it's the wood soaks in a lot of it. Maybe that's just an idea in my head. I'm not really that clued up on the science about it, but that's just an idea. The Danish oil for me personally doesn't give as much protection as the Osmo oil. It can scratch quite easy. And I also find you have to put more coats of the Danish oil on to try and beef up that protection. Yeah, I think that's probably it for the for the bad points of the Danish oil. There's not many. The good points, it's a lot cheaper. It's a really a lot cheaper than Osmo oil. I can't really give you a ratio, but you can get quite a lot more Danish oil than you can Osmo oil. But as I said before, you're kind of you pay for what you get, if you like. So you're going to get better protection with the Osmo oil. It's not to say Danish oil, is a poor protection. Me personally, I just feel Osmo oil's better. Same with the Osmo oil. The Danish oil will beautifully pop the grain, and it gives it that beautiful golden colour. Now, I think that's what first sold the Danish oil to me when I first used it. I used it and it just really it gives us a beautiful just a beautiful golden colour. When I was sold on it. Applying it is it's one of the easiest finishes for me in any way. Basically, you just you have a little or I have a little dish. I just put a rag in it and then I just apply it. I basically douse the rag and just apply it. It's just nice and easy, nice and quick. It's no frills, Danish oil. But that's for me. That's probably one of the easiest finishes to apply. It's nowhere near as thick as the Osmo oil. I believe there's no waxes in that, so obviously it's more liquidy, if you like, so it soaks into a rag like quite well. So the next one I'm going to talk about is boiled linseed oil. So I've only used this a couple of times, to be honest. The last time I used it was in my van, when I eventually got around to doing or rather finishing all the tongue and groove cladding. I seen it and I says, "Oh, I'll just use that." It was just more for the sake of trying it, type of thing. I had tried it, like I said, I had tried it in the past, but I couldn't. It was that long ago, I couldn't really remember it. So I says, "Oh, I'll give it a go," and I quite like what it done to the pine, or the spruce rather. If you put Osmoid Oil on spruce or Danish oil, it doesn't tend to darken down too much. You still get that really like blonde, like look. But when I used the boiled linseed oil, it did actually darken it down more noticeably than it did with the Osmo oil or with Danish oil. So that's one thing I do like about it. I haven't actually tried this on any hardwoods, the likes of oak, which I probably will do in the future. The only thing that puts us off with the boiled linseed oil is it just takes so long to dry. It's ridiculous time to dry. I think Danish oil and Osmo oil, they're pretty much on par. I mean, you kind of maybe 6, 7, 8 hours, and you're kind of ready to put another coat on. The instructions, are kind of, I'm not too sure at hand, but I think the instructions basically say leave it 24 hours. But for me, you don't really need to. When I say 6 to 8 hours, this is in the winter as well. If it's summertime, I have done this like in about 3-4 hours. Basically, I'll just bring the piece outside and I'll do it outside. And obviously the heat and the sun, and it just dries it a lot quicker. This is in the northeast of England, of course. This is going to vary, throughout the world, so I can't really say. But obviously, with all of these, the colder it is, the longer it's going to take to dry. But going back to the boiled linseed oil, one of the things I absolutely hate about boiled linseed oil, it absolutely stinks. It's probably the worst one, I think. Danish oil does stink, but now that I think about it, probably boiled linseed oil just so much so it actually, a couple of times I've actually reached with it, or etched with it, however you want to say that. To me, the boiled linseed oil, it smells like dirty chip fat grease, and it's just like, it's a bit too much for me. So it lingers. I think it lingered for like 2 weeks. So I haven't actually got my van now. Unfortunately, I had to sell it. Unfortunately, but when I had the van stunk of like dirty chip fat grease for about 2 weeks. Every time I was going in the van, I was like, bleh, just you could smell it, and it was just so horrible. I don't know if that's because I just done like this. Obviously there was a lot of area to cover with the boiled linseed oil, but no, it wasn't good. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to quickly go through how I apply these, because they do vary a little bit. First is not the linseed oil. First is the Osmo oil. So the Osmo oil, what I used to do, I used to get some in a little tray, and I used to use a baby roller. small painter's roller and put it on like that, and then wipe the excess off with just a cloth. So the problem with this is that it just uses too much. If you actually look on the tin, it'll say use sparingly. I think most of them do, don't they? That's kind of like the what's the word I'm looking for here? The kind of their insurance, because they've got on the back the square coverage, how much this tin will cover, and it never covers what it says it's going to cover. But then, if you whatever to try to take them to court, or or what, something silly like that, they'd be, we see on the tin, use it sparingly. So yeah, using a roller doesn't use it sparingly, and you waste quite a lot. So when I was using the roller, yeah, don't get us wrong, it's super quick to do it that way, it's ridiculously quick. But then you've got to start wiping the excess up, and that's when the problem comes. So you've got an old rag, and you start wiping it up, and the rag just starts getting saturated, but at the same time, with it being a oil and wax blend, it some of it doesn't soak into the rag very well, so you end up just dragging it around, and you can end up with streaks. So you've got to be really careful doing it that way, and sadly I've done it that way for a very, very long time. How I now do it, pretty much because I've seen it done on Instagram. I'd seen this done on Instagram a while ago, but I thought, the guys are just showing off type of thing. But basically, they were just using like a plastic card, like a plastic scraper, and basically they tip a little bit on, and they just start working it, just kind of scraping it across, just for argument's sake, a tabletop. And they're basically spreading it and scraping it all over this tabletop. And I seen this, and as I said, I thought, they're just showing off for whatever. It looks cool, but yeah, they're just showing off. But if you kind of look a little bit deeper into it, it's actually really quick to do it this way. Once you get the hang of using the card to spread the oil, and secondly, you're using a lot less. I mean, it's ridiculously a lot less, and you kind of get the feel for how much to put on. And if you have got excess, you can literally just take it to one of the corners of the tabletop and just scrape it back into the tin, and brush the sides up the mess, so there's no drips, sort of thing, but that saves like a lot of wastage. And then you come, as what I do, I come along with a rag, and then I wipe the excess off. So when I say excess, there's not a lot of excess there, so you don't have the same issue with saturating the rag. It's very minimal. So again, in the long run, you're actually saving yourself money, which is the big problem in my opinion, with the Osmo oil, because it's so expensive. So when I've done that, I like to do this with a light on, because the light will actually reflect, because I'm blind as a bat as well, but it does actually help to reflect the wetness, if you like. I'm not using the right terminology here, but basically the wet Osmo oil that's on the tabletop, and is what this allows for me, is what it allows us to see is if there's any streaks. And occasionally is a couple of little streaks, and you can go back along and basically remove these streaks. So that's how I do it now. So Danish oil, as I said before, this is one of the easiest to apply. You basically just get a rag, douse a rag, and just go over everything. Same again with the Danish oil and with the Osmo oil, you can have streaks with it. If you are dousing the rag and you're basically just slapping it on, you will get a lot of streaks. So is what I do if I'm using Danish oil for quickness. I'll slap it on as quick as I can, and then I'll come back with maybe a kitchen towel and just take the kitchen towel over everything. And again, this takes off the excess and it gets rid of any streaks. So that's pretty quick. With the boiled linseed oil, again, that seems to be, it's like a lot thicker. And the last time I used it, and this was solely just for quickness, I just slapped it on with a small painter's roller. I mean, if I was going to do a tabletop with it, I possibly might use the same technique as the Osmo oil, most probably. Same with the Osmo oil and the boiled linseed oil. Just while I'm talking about it, because I give you the example of a tabletop. If it's legs, obviously you've got legs to do, so if it's legs I will use a fine paintbrush. I just wanted to hide that in there because obviously not everything's nice and straight and flat, so I will use a paintbrush for the two of them, which I don't really like to do, but just because it takes time. So with all of these, basically barring the boiled linseed oil, because I didn't put any wax on the van after it, but with the Danish oil and the Osmo oil, obviously on furniture that I'm making for people, wax goes on. Always, I'll always put some sort of wax on afterwards. So whether it be the Danish oil or the Osmo oil, after the last coat's applied, I will lightly go over the whole area, the whole piece of furniture with some 400 grits sandpaper. Then take just take an old rag and just remove all the dust, because obviously you'll have a lot of what looks like white dust all over your furniture. And I'll just apply some wax after that. So there's pretty much two waxes I use. I use beeswax. This is just ready made, bought in a tin. I haven't actually used true beeswax. That may be something I might do in the future, but I haven't yet. And the second one is just a Breedwax, and that's the Black Bison one, and that's like a hard wax. So how I would apply these, they're a little bit different. So the beeswax, for anyone that doesn't know, beeswax, when you buy it in a tin ready made, it tends to be soft. It's like a soft wax. So I'll actually just use a paintbrush and apply this with a paintbrush pretty quickly. I'll remove the excess with a cloth, and then I'll just get a little brush, something like you would use to shine your shoes with, and basically just go over the whole piece like that. And as what this does, the bristles actually, it pushes the wax into the grain, and any uneven surfaces, the things like you've got little cracks around knots and stuff like that, and sometimes when you go over, me personally, I don't pay attention a lot, I can be miles away doing this, and I might get an excess amount of wax into into a crack. So a good thing about using the brush, the bristles gets in and it'll actually clean the crack out for you, so you can't see it, because the beeswax, the stuff you buy ready in the tin, or the stuff I buy ready in the tin, it's like a white colour, so it's very noticeable if it's stuck, like in cracks. So as I said, the bristles sorts that out for you. So when I've done that, I'll basically I'll give it another wipe over with a cloth. Set it aside, let it dry for about 20 minutes, and come back and buff the life out of it. I think the thing with the beeswax is that you'll get a better sheen on it. It's like, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's very lustrous. If you use the two of these, you will tell the difference. It tends to be, it's just more. It's more visual if you use it. That's the only way I can describe it. Obviously, the two of them have got the benefits, and that's why I use the two of them on and off and whatever else. So the Breedwax, the black basin stuff. This is a hard wax for anyone that doesn't know, and is what I'll do with this. I'll put it on with a sponge. I'll basically just get a good amount of it and put it on, like, onto the sponge, and then just rub it in with a sponge. Now, I was using the wire wool, but I don't know, I couldn't get away with it. I think that's pretty much the consensus when you're using this sort of wax. I think pretty much everyone just uses the wire wool, but obviously I don't do that. I just use the sponge. Put the sponge on, then I get the brush out after that, give it a good scrub, get it into all the nooks and crannies, and I'll give it a wipe down. Same again, set it one side, 20 minutes, and then give it a good buffing. So with the Breedwax, the black basin stuff, it does darken the pieces down a little bit more. For me, it does anyway. It gives it a bit more protection than the beeswax. That's 100%. That's definite. It doesn't make it sheen as much as well as the beeswax. But as I said, it does give it more protection. I also feel as well that you get a more silky, smooth finish with the beeswax than you do with the basin, the black basin. But I will say the black basin will last longer than the beeswax. Although it is smoother, the beeswax doesn't. It doesn't last as long. It will have to be reapplied earlier than the black basin stuff. So it's one of them. You will get benefits using one, and you'll get benefits using the other one. So kind of it is what it is, sort of thing. So something else I want to add at the end of this is that if you're ever making a piece of furniture, and you're looking at the piece of furniture and you're thinking, I'm not really liking it, it's not happening, it's, there's a mistake here, there's a mistake there, should I just chop it up and put it in the fire pile? Sometimes you get like that. Even now, me, sometimes I'll get like that, and I'm thinking, it looks like a bag of nails, it looks absolutely terrible, shall I just restart this? And then you'll put the finish on. You'll put in my case either the Danish oil or the Osmoid oil, and then the natural grain and the natural beauty of the wood will do its own thing. And I swear to you, honestly, what a difference a good finish can make to a bad piece of furniture. Like I say, I've done it a lot. There's been times in there's been times in the past where I've designed a piece of furniture and the design hasn't been all that good, and I'm looking at the shape and I'm looking at the proportions of it and I'm thinking it just doesn't look good, it just doesn't look right, but as soon as you put that finish on, it does change a lot. After you've put the finish on, you might be in the same frame of mind as say, it doesn't look great, the proportions are wrong, but I'll bet you any amount of money you like that you'll think it looks better if you've done a half decent job on the finish. 100%, you will definitely feel that it does look a little bit better. Honestly, you'll be amazed at what a good finish can do. Just by following a few little guidelines, a few little tips, have a little go of what I've been suggesting, how I apply it, take your time with the finish, and like I said, it can make a hell of a difference. It really, really can. So I think that's pretty much it for today. So don't forget, if you've got any suggestions for any podcasts, leave a comment. If you have any suggestions for any videos, again, leave a comment. I'm going to leave a Linktree link in this podcast, and for anybody that doesn't know Linktree, it'll take you to like a page, and it's got all my links here. My YouTube, my Instagram, Facebook, just TikTok, everything's here. So for anyone that doesn't know, just click on the Linktree link, and it'll take you there. It'll give you links to all my content. So as I said, if you've got any questions, any ideas, leave a comment, email us, whatever. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you soon.